everyone, and welcome to Two Farts in a Can. I'm your host, John, and with me is Jason Salter. What is going on, bud?
I'll be your huckleberry, baby, whatever you want.
And joining us is Mr. DJ himself. A lot of you may have had him for biology. DJ Don Cox. Mr. Cox, I'm going to call you Don. Don, how are you doing, sir?
Please. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Wicka, 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 wicka.
Oh, yeah.
So how much money did Jason have to pay you to get you to come onto this thing? Or did your people get with his people and we got it all going? And
Well, I have a godfather who owes me 2 favors, and I tried to get one to cash one in, but he said, no, go ahead and go through it. So it didn't take long.
So you know that when we're going to talk about proms and the prom dates that we had and all of that, it's funny. You have all of this from a different perspective because you DJ'd every one of those proms. You DJ'd every one of those dances during football season.
Oh, yeah.
You were – how did you get into DJing? What was the start of that?
It's an interesting question that people ask me all the time, and, of course, I always tell them I was late to a meeting. But as you know, being the Duffer sponsor, and in 1980 they bought a sound system for our gym, which had no sound system. And Duffers were more or less a couple of guys that, hey, we have something to do. Let the Duffers do it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I kept looking at it saying, hey, you know, I could do something with this. And so I basically put some stuff together and I said, I can make some money at doing this. And someone had talked to me about it. I actually saw my first DJ in 1973 in a bar where I used to study. Believe it or not, my GPA went up. And so he used a reel-to-reel tape.
Was that?
He did the reel-to-reel tape and just made songs together. I always had great knowledge of music. So for about 2 years at Duncanville, I was just doing dances for the school with just getting music that I had accumulated. And then in 1982, one of my new Duffers named Brian Mabry, he knew technology. I didn't know technology. And actually, when you see the name MC Sound, people think it's Mr. Cox. It's actually Mabry and Cox.
Yeah.
So I had a student who was working with me in a business, and Brian and I did things together for years. And you know, I love working with the kids, and I love music, and being a frustrated musician myself. Here's a way I can make my contribution to being a DJ, and it just kind of escalated because in '82, I finally went outside of the school and started doing things at Lancaster, different schools. And then it just went crazy after that. And one of my favorite things I love doing, and Jason would testify to this, I love training kids to do this. Yeah. And it gave them something to do. And that just makes my heart melt to see I still have guys who are still doing this today. I still have a connection with all the people who I've worked with. And Jason and I talked many, many times.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that just touches my heart is that we get together, talk about things. They always tell me, working with you is probably the best times of my life. And that right there, I mean, you know.
Jason doesn't say that, though. Jason said how much he hated working for you.
I'm not a big Don.
He made a lot of money for doing something he was doing. I've always got in trouble. So.
I'm doing that shit for free.
Hey, Jay, turn your volume up a little.
I know. And like I said, the stories I have, I can remember most of them, but it just went crazy after that. So, yeah, it's been a blessing for me.
Well, that is so, because I mean, I remember, Jay, when you used to do that, and I was so jealous because that was a neat job to have on the side.
How
did you hook up with Don to do that?
Sure. Can you guys hear me now? Because I know you're
it's better.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
So you know, it's interesting, and I'm glad you said that, Don, because it was a great prelude into into what we're doing tonight. First of all, when Don approached me about doing this, it was shortly after the Senior Talent Show, and I became a part of MC Sound. And I, like everybody else, thought MC was Mr. Cox, and it was Brian Mabry. And I know Brian, and I'm fortunate to have known a very intelligent guy and a big part behind that whole thing. And so anyway, after we did the Senior Talent Show, Don and I got to talking, and he said, hey, you know what? Why don't you come with me? And he used to bring dancers to this thing, because this was back in the 80s when everybody danced, but you needed a little bit of encouragement, especially in high school. And so if you saw kids around your same age that looked like you and stuff like that, exactly. then you would jump out there and go dance. So he was like, hey man, listen, you seem to have some confidence about you and you don't mind making a fool out of yourself. Why don't you get out there and see what it's all about? And so I showed up at a couple, I think it was junior high or freshman dances or something, and danced with a couple of the girls and that came with us, and they were girls our age from the school, and I had a great time doing it. And slowly but surely, Don was like, hey, you want to listen? I'm gonna take a break. Turn this album on or hit this button on this cassette and try not to mess anything up. And he would go to the bathroom or do whatever he needed to do, and he would come back, and I kind of still had the thing going. And so a little bit at a time, exactly like he said, he liked to kind of nurture that part of kids our age that really enjoyed doing that. And I got to tell you, and I've been waiting on this moment now for several weeks as we talked about bringing Don on. For those of you who know me and know me well, know that I spent about 8 years of my life doing a little bit of stand-up comedy, and spent a little time on a stage. I had like one minor TV appearance that I got like 186-cent check for residual effect. It was those moments that I spent with Don Cox behind the table, DJing dances, talking on a microphone, learning how to speak in public and perform and hold an audience that really inspired me to go do that. And so I'm grateful that now I get to sit in front of an entire audience of people and everybody we know on Facebook and thank him for that opportunity, because it was a pleasure. And exactly like you just said, it was something that has resonated with me my entire life.
Thank you, Jason. You have the personality. That's what I look for, is personalities. So you know how to get a crowd going.
And I still do. However, most of them chasing me at that point.
But, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking Don's fault.
It is Don's fault.
I'll take the blame. I'm blamed for a lot of things. Blame me for COVID too. I don't care.
So Don, let me ask you this: has COVID affected you at all? I mean, has it had any effect with, or are you just staying in and not worried?
Oh, there's no shows. I lost every show I've had. I mean, I'm only doing stuff when I want to now. I'm not advertising. I quit doing that because these new DJs just drive me nuts, because there's no passion for the craft anymore. Yeah. It's all about business. No one wants to do schools, and I still do schools. Of course, the problem I have is you get a 69-year-old man walk into a predominantly Canadian school, and they Jason knows what I'm talking about.
Because Texas orders Canada.
And they say, "Who are you?" It says, "I'm the DJ tonight." What? I said, "Yeah." This is, "Oh, hell no." And so,
yes.
But at the end of the night, they come to me and goes, "You know, for an old dude, you really got some jams."
You got a little ups.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I'll give you a story.
That's awesome. You know, I just assumed you were out of the business since really the last time I saw you DJ was at Jay's, what was it, 45th?
40 or something like that. Yeah.
40-something birthday.
I do what I want to now. I mean, I do only private parties. I still do some stuff for schools. I have about 2 proms a year because people like using me because I play edited music. I can control a crowd, you know, and it's not about, you know, and I tell people, if you want somebody with a lot of body piercings and a lot of tattoos, I'm not your guy, but I'll play edited music and I'll control your crowd. And that's what I do. I still do 2 or 3 shows, but I do mainly stuff for my own school because they're very strict, and I still like doing schools. And again, I got to deal with the age thing. I don't know what the problem is.
I'll tell you, one of the things that Don taught me that I'll never forget, and I still do it to this day, or at least I do it in my head, is he controlled crowds by keeping them on the dance floor. It wasn't a matter of your voice, and it wasn't a matter of security, and it wasn't a matter of anything else.
Or yelling at them.
Giving them something to do. And the way that you did it was you kept them on the dance floor. Don taught me how to count bass beats in a song, and I still do it to this day. And when I hear DJs on the radio or I'm in a club somewhere and they're playing it and they miss it, it is so painfully obvious, like it hurts my soul. And I'm like, how did you blend those 2 songs together? Because you lost and you watch it. If you watch the floor, everybody's grooving and having a good time, and they miss that fucking beat, and everybody evacuates as if somebody farted right in the middle of the dance floor. And the game is over at that point.
And you scream out, "Dead air, dead air."
Yep. It's amazing to watch.
And there's nothing worse than dead air, especially for podcasts. It's just
Exactly.
And in middle school, 15 seconds is eternity.
Oh my God.
Hey, I've got one that's a freshman and a seventh grader, so I know what you mean. If you don't
Yep.
hold that attention for that long, they'll
Yep.
space into another world. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
believe it or not, I have DJ experience. I did DJ for about a year and a half at the Texas Tux.
Oh yeah.
Remember the Texas Tux?
Oh yeah.
That kind of happened by accident. I was actually bartending, and the DJ was drunk and showed
I'll
me
be
how to
Marty
do it.
Mahone.
Huh?
I was about to say, I got $50 to Don.
I'll be Monty Mahone.
Yes.
Monty's not on here, is he?
No.
Oh, listen, I got to tell you, here's a funny story about Monty. So I had lived in Georgia for, I don't know, almost 14 years. And I came back to visit one time, and John picked me up at the airport, and we stopped in to have lunch at Cheddar's. And I hadn't been there in 20 years. And when we got out of the car, I said, would you not shit your pants if Monty Mahone is sitting at the corner of the bar with a large beer in his hand like he always did?
No, it was a Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke, that's what it was. We walked in there, and son of a bitch, and Marty Mahone was not sitting at the end of the bar with a Jack and Coke in his hand. And we walked in, and he goes, hey guys, what's going on? Like we had never left.
It was like, cheers, Norm. Well, now,
30 years of our lives had passed. It was 8 seconds for Monty.
Okay, so Jay, I want to get to Don in a second. We're going to get to some of your most memorable homecoming or any dances that we did at Duncanville High School or the proms for Duncanville High School. Jay, who did you take our junior? How many proms did you go to, Jason?
In total?
Yes.
Honestly, I went to a total of 9 proms.
What? You were only in high school 4 years.
I know. I went to 4 of ours. I went to 3 of DeSoto's. I went to 1 in Irving and 1 in Grand Prairie. And then I actually came, sorry, it was 10. And then I actually came back the year after I graduated and went to the senior prom with a friend of Amy's, a friend of my sister.
Well, that wasn't the year after. Amy was a few years younger than us.
Yeah, but it was the next year, or it was 2 years after. So I went to 10 proms.
Who did you go to prom with our freshman year?
I haven't the foggiest idea, to be quite honest with you.
I
honestly, I can't remember anybody I went to prom with other than the people that were outside the school.
Where did you get that picture?
We got a long ride ahead of us.
Terry Hester has to be.
Well, it's quite possibly Terry Hester.
Yes.
I don't want to incriminate anybody, but it's quite possibly Terry Hester.
So you don't.
Yeah, it is.
So you don't remember junior and senior. Jay, you went to senior prom. We were both seniors, and you went with me. Do you not remember who you took?
I remember you didn't put out.
I still don't.
Honestly, I mean, I got to tell you, I don't remember who I went to with any of them.
Rhonda Zachary.
Well, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Our senior year, you took Rhonda Zachary because I took Kathy Harless when we were seniors.
Oh, yeah.
And so I actually was the first time I'd ever had a girlfriend. So
I remember that. We thought you were gay up until that moment.
Yeah, my mom was. That's her
she
name.
Got over it? Is that?
Her name is Gay. So, but our junior year, I had a date with Jody Sanford. Now it's Jody Sanford. I forget the last name now. She's married and has a couple of grown men for sons now. But Jody took pity. That's what she did. Yep. She had no interest. I just think, unfortunately for her, the guy she was holding out to take her to the prom didn't come through, and I was standing over there like a whipped dog.
You mean that guy?
No, it wasn't him. That was probably our senior year.
You mean Johnny Haddix? Hold on. You mean that guy?
Johnny Haddix, probably our senior year. Now, this was when Jody and I, when we were juniors, though, Jody went with me. And it was purely like just a date. I mean, it was not, Jody had no interest. I did. She didn't. So, Don, tell me, is there any particular prom that you remember of all of them that you can go, the craziest thing that happened or anything happening at a prom?
Well, Duncanville proms were always fantastic. I mean, I look forward to proms every year. I mean, that was like my thing you look forward to. You got spring break, and spring break I would spend 2 days recording in my little studio, just putting CD, well, in your day, cassettes together. I used to create mixes and everything. And look, and I was talking to Jason, says, really nothing really stupid happened at proms, but there is a couple of incidents that I had. One year, one of my duffers was absent a lot, and I couldn't think of his last name. His name is Kelly, but he was told because of his absences, he's not to go to prom. And he told me that. I said, well, that's kind of harsh. I mean, this is a guy who goes to school for 13 or 14 years, and he has a chance to go to prom his senior year, and you take it away from him because he's not at school. So, it's not my job, not the administrator. So, and this is when the prom was at the Apparel Mart. I think your prom was at the Hyatt.
Yes,
not one of my favorite places, but the Apparel Mart is awesome.
Yeah.
But so you don't have to, the load in is, of course, everything Jason knows, everything is about load in. And Apparel Mart brought you carts, everything, and you had this big wall you set up on. And it was a sunken area. So Duncanville prom was just rocking. And music's going, it's loud. And this beautiful girl comes up to me and says, Mr. Cox, you have to play a song for me. And I looked over and said, damn, and I don't know this person. So I said, he says, Mr. Cox, do you recognize me? I said, no, who are you? It's me, Kelly. What? It's Kelly. He dressed up like a girl and got into the prom. And I'm not kidding you. I said, damn, Kelly, no offense, but you're fine. So,
I was about to say.
And I said, Kelly, don't you go in that girl's bathroom. But he could tell me this because I knew that I wouldn't say anything about it because the administration kind of wanted me to kind of watch everything, which is fine. Right. By the way, me and the TABC agents, they have undercover all the time. They always came and introduced themselves. What happened? I just lost you guys.
I can see you. Can you see us?
I can't see any of you guys, but I can hear you. So it just went off, posted 10 days. But anyhow, I'll keep telling the story. Yeah. So anyhow, all night long, it was just, he kept coming up. I said, damn, Kelly, be careful. But they looked at when he came in, he was a date one of the other guys. So, that was one of the things that just stood out in my mind. But another incident, now this is back in 2000 or 97. If you've ever been to the Apparel Mart before they tore it all down, they had a fountain, a huge fountain on the side of it. Well, this is, I think, 1997. So we have the party going. I look over, there's 3 guys on the edge of that fountain, and all 3 of them dive in their tuxedos. And they start swimming laps across the fountain. And I'm like, what the hell? So I run over and says, you guys know anything about electricity? Because there's lights in this fountain right now, and you're here playing. Of course, the administration came in, and they got them out. And I says, you know who I feel sorry for right now? Are your dates. Because they have to look at you all night long because you're soaking wet.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. So, but like I said, and of course, yes, I can do anything other than the prom too.
Yes.
Because I have a couple of, oh Lord, Jason, you should have been here for this one. This is back after I left Duncanville in '97. I came in, I was doing a homecoming dance in that old gym over on the east side, the east building, the east campus. Yeah. Well, in the gym, not in the cafeteria where we used to have them.
Right.
But
hello.
They had, man, it was when the football team is getting better, basketball is getting better. But I have the music going, and of course it's loud and it's rap music. And I look over against the wall, and there's about 6 girls with their hands against the wall like they're being arrested. And these guys are on the back of them just freak dancing on them. They're just bumping their booties up against their crotches like crazy. And I'm going, oh, all right. So the next thing I see is this big guy comes up to me, big Canadian gentleman comes up to me and says, I'm looking for Kanisha. I said, I don't know who Kanisha is, but I'll page her.
You're right there.
And I said, I'm going to start dying laughing just thinking of it. So I look over against the wall. Maybe she's one of those girls against that wall over there, doing the freak dance. He looks over and goes, God damn it, that is Kanisha. I said, oh, shit. She was up in his crotch like you wouldn't believe. And he just did that big big burly walk that he has, the boom, boom, boom.
I'm gonna kill someone.
Over there. Oh, yeah. Kenesha's dead. The K in Kenesha is going to be, she's just going to be Nisha. But
so now you were doing
next time.
So that was
Go
Duncanville,
ahead.
and you had come back to do
No,
it.
I lost your video.
I've got you. I can see you good.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, I
fine,
can't see
Don.
anybody.
Can you hear us?
Okay, all right, I can do that. Probably good because I have the perfect face for radio anyway. So.
Yeah, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
And you hit up on a second ago. You said, are we going to talk about all proms, or are we going to talk about some other stuff? And we are going to talk about some other stuff. So,
Okay.
Unfortunately for you, you blessed me with being an honorary duffer several years ago. And
Yeah.
I now have a direct feed to most people that you have known for many, many years. And so I spent the afternoon and early morning and afternoon today reaching out to several of former duffers and some of the ones that I know. And this went on for a long time.
Yeah.
So I got a couple questions for you. So
okay.
First of all, did you birth the duffers or did you inherit them?
I inherited the duffers. Again, one of those things, I was late for a meeting. In 1977, I think Jeannie Simmons was the duffer sponsor. And this was my second year teaching there. And a group of guys came up to me, Brad Bell, Robert Canino. If you know Canino, he's a judge. I mean, he's kind of scary. They came up to me because I'm a young teacher. I mean, I'm only 23, 24 years old, and I'm pretty dynamic, and I've already pissed off the principal 2 or 3 times. So they said I'll be perfect for the duffer sponsor. I didn't know anything about it. So I figure, okay. And there's only 7, 8 guys, 9 guys, and pretty dynamic, pretty creative. And I'm a very creative person. And that's when we started doing the duffer skits, which was very popular with all the kids because everyone went to the pep rallies, not to watch the cheerleaders, not to watch the band. They were there for the duffer skits.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember you building the duffers, and I would go to those pep rallies, and I was playing football at the time. But those the favorite parts about pep rallies were watching the duffers, and there was a small part of me that was like, I kind of wish I was actually part of the duffers because it looked like such a fun time.
We got away with so much stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
for those of you that don't know what the duffers were, they were
male cheerleaders.
Well, and even better than that. So anybody, I'm sure there's probably hardly anybody within the sound of my voice that didn't see Animal House. But the duffers were Animal House in matching T-shirts. That's just kind of the deal. And if you know Noel Bustamante and some of those guys, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So
Randy Reisner, all those guys. I mean, just Doug Williams, all those.
I was asking them, and they were sharing several stories with me. And Noel and I had a great time kind of going back and forth today.
Go ahead.
Eccles brothers. And brothers, and apparently it out very well. But apparently
they exchanged spit. They used to spit at each other and catch it. They hock up loogies and they would spit at each other and catch them in their mouth.
Who? Now I missed it. You broke up for a second. Who was this?
The Eccles brothers, Mark and Mike Eccles. Love them to death.
Noel sent me about 7 paragraphs explaining the Eccles brothers and said they stood about 15 feet apart, hocking up loogies and spitting them into each other's mouth until Don basically threw up on himself.
Oh my God.
Hey, I worked in a morgue. That even got to me.
I wouldn't call Duncanville High School a morgue, but I mean.
No, I used to work in a morgue when I was in college and out of college.
No, that was a total shot right there. I was just taking a shot at DHS. That's all. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Jay, did any of the Duffers have anything to say today?
I mean, everybody, and I reached out to, I'm part of the Duffers page. And so I kind of went in and messaged some of those guys behind the line so Don couldn't see it. And several of them popped off, and it was Noel and the Eccles brothers and Sam Foose. And
Foose.
Apparently Sam Foose, and I don't really know Sam personally, although we share a, I don't know, like a weird retarded brother kinship or something, because we all know Don. And so we're kind of like coronavirus. We're all infected because we knew him. But apparently Sam's big thing was he basically wanted to moon everybody in Duncanville his senior year. And they were in the back of Greg Serval's truck. And I know we know the Serval's family, and they all kind of their feeders kind of feed down into the lineage of the entire town and everybody that we know. So they were driving around trying to figure out a way for him to moon more people. It had become like a hallmark of the senior class. And they drove around and they basically hung his ass out of the back of a Cherokee that had sliding open windows and mooned everybody in town. And they ended up in a jack-in-a-box. And apparently the word had spread, very similar to our senior scavenger hunt, which is going to be a story that we'll tell at a later date. They pulled into jack-in-a-box, and it was like a bright colored truck, and Foosa's ass was hanging out of the back of it. And when they pulled up, Serval's pulled up close enough to the window that the only thing the girls could see in the window was Sam Foosa's ass. And apparently he got hit with about 3 vanilla shakes right in the butthole as they were driving away. And the best that they can remember, Sam chalked up about 100 to 150 ass looks that night. So he made his quota in one night. But they all attribute that to being a part of the Duffers and bringing a large group of very funny individuals together. And then all of them
very creative too.
Yes, all of them kind of exercising their demons all at the same time. A lot like we grew up, and it was just 4 or 5.
They made me director of the senior talent show of all people.
So for years. You were the director of our senior talent show.
Yeah. Jay and I hosted that thing. Do I sound better now, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because
that's what I like about Jay. Jay's a personality. I mean, he is, and that's what I look for in DJs. People who can work with people. Jason knew how to get crowds going. I mean, you get Jason a live mic and look out. And a captive audience.
Yeah, I still get people that
ask me what you're talking about, Don. We're going to get the racks and the stacks and the best on wax. We're going to bring everybody to the dance floor. I got Mercedes on the main stage. Can I get $1.50 shots all night? Can I get a hell yeah?
I didn't teach him. Well, yeah, I did teach him that.
I remember Serval took me home one night when we were freshmen. He was a senior. And I don't know how he got stuck with the freshmen. And I think, Jay, you might have been in the car. And he was just like, yeah, I'll run you home. We were going down the service road of 67, and there were cones on the service road, and he was hitting them on purpose. And I was.
It's not been the night that he ran the red light, but I think that was Jimmy Hare that had us in the back of the truck, and he refused to stop at red lights.
Yeah. Well, what Jimmy had figured out, Jimmy could see when the yellow light was going on the other one. And so he would scare us because he knew the green light was coming. And he would speed up knowing it was about to turn green. And you and I are sitting there, never driven a car in our life. We're going, what the hell is he doing? What is he doing? And he would just go right through there. So how many of the Duffers do you keep up with, Don? Do they still reach out?
I haven't been, yeah, they still do. I just, I have my Facebook hacked. My Facebook got hacked a couple of years ago, and I haven't reconnected with a lot of people in the last couple of years because school's been keeping me busy. But I do keep in touch with Noel a lot, Randy Reisner, Mark Eccles and I will talk on occasion, and Jeff Suter. I mean, I'm still trying to reconnect with everyone. It just takes me a while. But it's always fun to get with them, and they tell stories. I mean, when I first retired, number one, in 2010, I had a bunch of them show up, and we sat at No Frills and drank beer and told stories, and I was in pain. I laughed so hard trying to remember. Of course, my memory sucks. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. But the memories of these guys is just unbelievable, the things that we did or got away. I could not do this today. I would probably be in prison. Yeah. Jason, we took people with us on the show. I could not do that today at all.
No.
And that was days we got fun. I mean, the parents, I had parents that tell me, will you take my daughter to one of your shows? Okay. Yeah. I mean, because we had a good time.
Yes.
I mean, I love traveling. I mean, I did parties in South Padre. I mean, I travel all over the state of Texas. I didn't charge a whole lot of money. I just enjoyed the party and the atmosphere and working with kids.
We had such an amazing time, Don. I think I spent, it was probably the first summer after I graduated high school. And I was working for you and I was doing dances and stuff. And I spent pretty much at least one day, if not 2 days a week, me, you, and sometimes it was Brian Mabry, on a golf course in Red Oak. I'm pretty sure it was, sneaking beers in our
Oh,
golf
Dead
bag.
Oak. Yeah.
And yeah, we're playing golf at Dead Oak, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm hanging out with Don and Brian and a couple of the guys, and we're drinking beers on the golf course and telling lies about people we didn't know, and it was some of the best times of my life.
And I have no doubt that you didn't pay for those beers, because normally when we were on any golf course, you never paid. I was the one that bought the beer. So I'm going to guess that Don probably bought the beer. No, Don wouldn't have done that. It had to be Brian that did it.
Oh, definitely Brian. But I always carry the beer in my golf bag, you know, and the key to getting beer in your golf bag is make sure they have the same brand as they sell. If you have a different brand that they sell, that's pretty obvious that you did buy it here. So.
Absolutely. So let's see. We've gone through a lot there. Golly, guys, we've gone through a lot. Jay, Jay, you don't have any stories. You can't remember anybody that you went to any dances with.
I tell you, because I just went to, and I don't want it to come off weird, but I went to a lot of dances. My parents knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of people, and so I got invited to dances, not just in our high school, but also at DeSoto and Lancaster and Grand Prairie, because my dad had friends that he was cops with, that they had daughters and they needed a date, and so I spent time bouncing around all these things. So I don't. Hopefully, nobody gets their feelings hurt that I didn't remember that exact moment in time.
I do.
I apologize, and John, I've hugged you and spooned you many times after that, so I'm so sorry. I did get to go to the 8th grade dance with Kitty Mayo, but that was a Sadie Hawkins dance, and she actually invited me to that. So I remember that specifically, and some of you have seen the pictures that she posted on Facebook. That's really about the only one that I can remember, was a Sadie Hawkins dance. If you remember, you and I actually taught the 8th grade class to country western dance, because you and I were the only ones that knew it.
Yeah, but I'm more worried about it was a Sadie Hawkins dance, because I think William Franklin invited me.
Well, and that started your interest in girls, because you didn't put out. So
I was just like the girls.
I understand.
That's what it was. No, I remember going to that 8th grade. I think I went with Robin Chavez is who I think I went with.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, it's Robin Chavez. What was it back then? It was Rob. Oh, God. I can't remember her name. Robin Ramirez.
Yeah.
Now Chavez. That's who it is. So
I'm staring right at you, and I got to ask you a question. Were you in a Flock of Seagulls video? What is going on behind you? Because I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to sleep tonight, because it looks like Matt Werner, but it also looks like Katie Lang.
It is Matt Werner.
I'm not sure who that is.
It is Matt Werner. That is me in Greece. So.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to I had a couple more pictures here if I could get to them. But no, that was Greece in 8th grade is what that was. That's me. That is duty.
John, I didn't think you were really shit, but I mean, your acting was not quite that bad, but it was kind of smelly.
Don, did you?
Don, what was the biggest train wreck of a prom that you ever went to, where you just walked away going, "I'm so glad I survived that"?
It sounds like a bunch of girls were against a wall humping other guys.
I think he made that up. I saw that on Pornhub last week.
Well, one of the train wreck proms that I have, I won't mention Gatesville High School. I was, that school's famous because that's where the women's penitentiary is, and so their prom is held at Lake Belton, which is a little fishing man. It's like a restaurant, kind of like. And I walk in there, and they had this stage. It's an overhang. And it's a metal stage, and I said, "Oh my God, look at the rust!" He says, "I need a tetanus shot before I even get on the stage here." so I get all set up, and then and now we're playing. And it's kind of good. Everything's going well, And then this TABC agent, of course, they used to come undercover. They introduced themselves to me. He said, I'm the TABC agent. This guy comes up and says, I just want you to know, I just arrested 3 limo drivers for bringing all these girls. And they stopped at a liquor store and bought booze for them. So I need you to make an announcement that if people would go out to their cars and just pour out their liquor, then we won't write any citations. And I said, sir, I can't make that announcement because I have school board members here. I have the principal here. I have administration. I have teachers here. I have parents here. If I do that, this whole is going to empty out. So I said, I have an idea. I have a plan. Jason, I always have a plan.
Of course. It's never a good one, but you have one.
Well, it's plan to work the plan. So I grabbed the kids. Says, hey, are you a senior? I said, yeah. I says, okay, I'm going to tell you something. This is a TABC agent. He has just told me that he has found so much alcohol in these cars out there. If you would just tell people to go to their car and dump out their alcohol, they will not write citations. Otherwise, in 5 minutes, he's going to write citations. It wasn't less than 2 minutes of that damn dance floor was over. It was empty. Everyone's gone out to the parking lot. But what was sad is this. They were going to do the presentation of the king and queen. And there's no one there. And I can't tell her, where's her body? I said, we have to do this presentation. Well, I still remember, I won't mention Cody Ledbetter's name, but he was the king. Well, Cody Ledbetter, that student was not there. Where was Cody?
I'm dumping it out.
He's out in the parking lot, the king of the prom, right? And I was like, God, get me out of here fast.
Oh my God.
The queen of Block 6.
Don, we get to do something different with you since we're used to normally having someone that's usually that we grew up with and we know from here. Mm-hmm. So since we have you on here,
I grew up with Don.
Where were you from, Don? Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Clifton, Texas, which is near Gainesville, and that is Central Texas area. And my parents moved up to Fort Worth. I went to JPL Northside for till my 9th grade year, and we had farms. And my father rented a farm out in Smithfield area, which is now North Richland Hills. And my mom wanted me to get into a better school district than it was in Fort Worth ISD. And so we lived in a shack on the other side of the track, literally. It was a farmhouse run down. I lived in a front porch, boarded up. I know it sounds like I should be president of the United States, how I grew up. But I went to Richland High School, graduated in 69. And then I went to college at TCC, UNT. And then I was a medical technician for 3 years. And then God called me to be a teacher. Went back to school. I was interviewing in Arizona, and I got a call from Duncanville. I did not know where Duncanville was.
Oh, funny.
I had to find a way how to get there.
Do you even know how they got
there? And I fell in love with the place. Yeah, I had no idea where it was. And
do you even know how they got your name?
It was when I was at UTA, I was in my student teaching. I had really high marks, and so I was in a pool of teachers, and so I got called in, and they hired me like right there because my resume was really good. And I guess first I had long hair, a Fu Manchu, and a mustache.
They thought
and
perfect.
Our principal, Ed Davis, oh no, he was Mr. Redneck. I always said I was on double secret probation. This is before Animal House.
Oh my God.
He had to follow me. He did not like me because I wouldn't put up with his crap. So I was kind of a cocky, arrogant.
Stupid is no way to go through college.
No, I know if that was, he yelled at me in front of my students one time, and I stood toe to toe to him and says, no, we will not do this. I am not afraid of you.
Yeah.
I gave up a job. I took a $20,000 pay cut to work here. I can sure as hell go back.
Yeah.
So, but things worked out the way it did.
Well, so who was the principal when you retired? So I know you went through. We were there.
Mike Kreitzberg. At Duncanville, I left in '97. It was Mike Kreitzberg, and
I know Mike.
I think the world of Mike Kreitzberg. Mike Kreitzberg will always be my favorite principal. Literally, I learned more from him in 2 years, and I hated leaving, But when Burble calls you and offers you a $12,000 raise,
Yeah.
and I haven't even done an interview with them,
Yeah.
you got to take that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and Jason's been to Richmond with me before. Their principal loved me, and he knew what I was like. But they needed someone there to work with kids, because their staff at Richland was at the time when I got there, they were horrible to kids.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I did 13 years at Richland, and then time came about and I retired and started working in a private school, and I love private school. I'm still going strong.
Holy.
Yeah, I tell people, well, Angie Fox, I don't know if she's on or not, but she told me that I suck at retirement, and I really do. But the kids at the school I'm at right now are absolutely amazing. And when I retire, it will not be because of kids, because the kids keep telling me to come back. You know, I was told Jason, I only needed one more year, and that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's amazing.
Still
that's
going strong.
Amazing. Now, Don, did you play sports or anything, or were you just?
Not really, because I worked on a farm, and my father wouldn't allow anything after school. I did track a little bit. I did tennis, but I was too little. I was 4'10" as a freshman. I was a little crap. Yeah, but I was fast.
There I was.
John hopes to reach puberty next month.
Yeah, that's what I look like as a freshman.
Yeah.
John was an 11-year-old girl until last year.
Well, my kids say, "Bet you got your ass kicked a lot." Not really. I lived on 300 acres of prime dove hunting season. In dove hunting season, all the football players wanted to be my best friend.
That's right.
Back then, I could carry a gun to school. I carried guns in my truck going to school. You know, and if I got pulled over by the principal, he showed me his gun too. So,
what kind of wiener gun is that? This here's a 12-gauge Mossberg.
Jay, what kind of time are we looking at?
We've been on about 52 minutes now.
All right, well, let's start to wind this thing down. One thing we need to do, Jay, any feedback from last week that we got that you I think most of it was about the prize, wasn't it?
Yeah. So John and I ran a contest last week, and it was about throw up your deuces, which we do at the end of every episode, and we'll do it again tonight. And hopefully we'll get Don Cox to join in. I've never had a problem convincing him to do much of anything other than put his pants back on.
You threw up aces a while ago.
But we asked everybody to throw up their deuces, and it started out a little bit slow, which was kind of strange. And then we got a little bump, got a little energy, and I think we ended up with, I don't know, 37 or 40 people that did it, which was so much fun. It was so much fun to watch. Like, it was literally, I think it was the second day we did it. It was coming at us so fast. He and I are sending addresses back and forth going, "Did you get that one? Did you get that one?" And so it was really, really cool to watch.
You know what? What set it off? I get
it was your live video.
No, you get a free prize.
We could have said free Whopper
trinkets.
Doubled up.
Yeah. I went free prize.
I'll take free shit.
Yeah, I'll always take free shit.
They all signed up, and so we've got all these prizes coming out. We're building a database, and when this fucking
God, Jason, do you remember giving prizes away some of the parties we did?
Oh my God!
It didn't matter what it was. We could take
shit up.
We could take the centerpiece of a 45 here, 345 centerpiece. Okay, glue it, and they killed for it.
An 11-hour CD of Boys in the Hood. And you can come up and get it right now, and they would line up. But I will tell you, John, out of all the comments that I read, and it's unfortunate this happened right in the middle of the Throw Up Your Deuces promotion, because we were having so much fun with it. But several people have asked me if you could give an update on Roger Eagle, who was a friend of ours that is apparently having some issues that John brought to light on the page, and it's amazing. And I tell this story to everybody that I meet that didn't grow up with us, is that we have such an amazing, and I would like to say an amazing close class of people, but it's really not. I mean, it expands to the left and to the right. And I think you could walk down that path 2 or 3 years to the left and 2 or 3 years to the right, and it would continue to expand beyond that. So for that particular time in that particular town and that particular part of the world, it was a very unique time, and people bonded together. And I've had an outpouring of people that have reached out to me and said, hey, do you know what's going on with Roger Eagle? So I'm not trying to put you on the spot, and I apologize if I am. And if you don't have anything, just give us that update. But I know that everybody has asked me.
Okay, so for those that don't know what happened, Roger had a motorcycle wreck the other night. He was in critical condition. He was in ICU. He did something to the back of his spine. He busted his leg up to where bones were sticking out. And he did something to he had his ear came off, but they got his ear back on. I got all of this from John Starnes, who told me that. From the last update I got, all the surgeries went well. He's through it. He's still in ICU. He's waiting to go home. I think one of his family members thanked us and came on there and said, appreciate you guys sending up the prayers for it and all of that. Look, at our age, any recovery, whether it's motorcycle wreck or getting out of bed on the wrong too early or too quick, requires a little recovery time. So,
wallet and watch.
So for Roger, we're going to send out our love and prayers for you, buddy. Get better, get back out there. We're going to see it the next time around we get together. If you're walking with a limp, you're not going to look any different than us, and we didn't do anything wrong. We're just fat and old is all I am. So, but no, we'll leave it up for Roger, bud. We hope you get better. Jay, we're going to wind this thing down. It's time to wind this thing up. Don, I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been so great to be again.
It's an honor, trust me. Just reconnecting and talking about things we did, the good times. It's what makes you successful is how much you enjoy what you do. And this is why I always feel like I'm a successful person, because of people like you and Jason and all the Duncanville people. I will always say this, Duncanville was 22 years of the greatest parts of my life. I really do mean that.
That's fantastic, and I've heard that.
I would like to say this too, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, John. But I want to make sure I get this in. I've been thinking about it all day long, and I'm grateful for the time that I got to spend with Don Cox. I'm grateful that he let John and I host the Senior Talent Show. It was an amazing, uplifting moment for both he and I. And it shot us both off into different directions in our lives that we both enjoyed thoroughly. I got to DJ for you. I got to meet a lot of I got to do a lot of cool things, and it gave me a confidence in my life that I probably wouldn't have had it not have been for you. And so I know that you spent some times with different schools. With us, it's been with Duncanville, and with other schools, it's been Richland and whatnot. And I've told you this personally via either phone call or messenger or text. And I want to say it live in front of everybody else now. You had a tremendous impact on my life, and I'm very grateful to have known you and have spent time and learned from you. And I'm sure that every single student that you ever come in contact with feels the exact same way. Don't ever give up. Keep fighting, because you are one of the good ones. And we should never.
I will. It's what keeps me going. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Don, thank you so much for coming on. There's a big round of applause you can't hear right now, but it's happening for Don Cox. Guys, we're going to wind it down. We want to thank everybody that's joined us on Facebook Live. Jay, tell us how they can follow us.
You can follow us at Two Farts in a Can. That's on Twitter, at Two Farts in a Can. You can go to our website at www.twofartsinacan.com. You can find us on YouTube at Two Farts in a Can. You can go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, and any other podcast medium or platform that you choose to use, and just type in Two Farts in a Can, and we'll pop right up. I think we've got somewhere north of 1,000 listeners at this point. We hope to take it even further than that. And just go out and find us. We're really not that hard to find. For those of you who threw your deuces up, you got a great prize. I guess coming at you. I'm so looking forward to the show following the recipient of the prizes.
Yeah, I can't wait for the reaction from that. Okay, Don, when I say this, I'm gonna wind this down, and I'm gonna go say, like we say at the end of every one of it, and we're all gonna put up our deuces and say it. So we're going to wind it down. Once again, thanks, Don Cox, for joining us today on Two Farts in a Can. It's been a wonderful time, and like we say at the end of every one of these, deuces! There we go. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Two Farts in a Can.